请各位跟着我一起礼佛三问心礼来。一问心，二问心，三问心。Okay, Wally, if you would like to request Dharma, please do it now.
恭敬大德僧听，为此法会集一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死离苦得乐。殊真无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi sanmyao samputoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samyao samputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. Now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Animal Master, Dharma friends, thank you for joining. Highly appreciate the Dharma request. 师父上人，各位师兄，大家阿弥陀佛。我们就继续就请我们华严海会佛菩萨来莅临大圣南无大方广佛华严经，华严海佛菩萨，南无大方华严经，华严海会佛菩萨，南无大方华严经，华严海会佛菩萨。南无大方华严经，华严海会佛菩萨。南无大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨。南无大方广华严经，华严海佛菩萨。再来一次。大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨。Further, we have the acknowledgement of country. We want to say that the Pomo people practice spiritual connections to the earth and to all creation here on their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years. This is Mendocino County. Today we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nation people whose sovereignty was never ceded. Pomo人在他们祖先的土地上修炼着他们与土地和万物的精神联系已有数万年。今天我们承认他们是这些土地的传统建筑人和原始讲故事的人，并且向他们过去、现在和新兴的长老们表示敬意，以及主权从未被割让所有的第一民族人民们表示敬意。好。Continuing on to the bell song. The bells sound wide resound throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 佛法众生传3000界内，佛法让万亿国中，共训起法界和平，利益报贪我后者。Alrighty. So welcome to our sutra lecture, and today here in Australia is 9/11. That's the sad anniversary of the attack almost a quarter century ago at the World Trade Center, and it's a day to acknowledge in sadness and to the memory that comes to my mind is how violence doesn't accomplish anything. Violence only leads to more violence. That's the Buddha's insight. So what was accomplished at 9/11 other than the start of increased hatred? So before we act violently, maybe reflect on that. 今天在澳大利亚已经是9月11 9/11 911快到100年的1/4。这个爆裂，佛讲得很清楚，爆裂有什么成绩呢？就是增长爆裂，没有解决任何善事就是肯定爆裂会继续，你打我，我会回手打你所以下一次我们有机会用暴力来出暴力，我们可以问自己，到底这有什么结果今天就是这么一个日子了So in California it's tomorrow, but there will be much head shaking and discussion of what have we accomplished since that time. Quarter of a lifespan since that happened, and look at the result. All right. Today's sutra. Here we are, right here. What's going on? We're in the 重诵, the repetitive verses that repeat the text, the prose taught in the text version of this chapter. And what's being talked about is the bodhisattva, and the bodhisattva is a giver. He's a donor. He's a benefactor. He's a philanthropist, a generous person, or she. And the sutra gives us a king, because kings have abundant wealth. And we've said many times over that there's first an act of cultivation. Usually it's generosity, it's giving, and then it's followed by a second act, which is giving again with the mind. That's the act of transference. It's called the gift of Dharma, and it's supposed to be the highest kind of giving because it's infinite. It doesn't run out. So what we're reading today is many examples in verse form of how bodhisattvas give with their minds. So that's what we're going to study. 我们已经讲到第6回向的重诵这个部分。重诵呢是把上边长行再重复再说一次，用寄诵来说一次。大家明白听了很多次，这个回向是怎么一回事？菩萨先做一种修行立功立德种福做善。多数呢是因为布施的关系，他就用双手来布施，他是慈善家，快乐布施的快乐欢喜布施的一个人。然后呢，他就把所修来的功德这个好处善根再一次布施，这次呢用心布施，所以呢就说主供养中法供养最，这现在是法供养。这个好处呢是因为用心做的，所以呢这是没有间断，无穷无尽的。他越修行越有功德，他越可以做法布施，用心来布施所以不是说物质的话你就布施完了就没有了这是你越有功德你越可以回向。 OK， 好， are we ready? That's what we're looking at. Here we go. 一于佛所闻正法，自是自舍其身充其事，为于普救诸群生，发生无量欢喜心。 Having heard the proper Dharma from the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas offer themselves as attendants. For the sake of saving all beings, they bring forth boundless joy. Yeah. What's happening here is Bodhisattva is a special person. Their happiness comes from service. And the more they work selflessly to benefit others, the happier they get. So, for the sake of saving beings, they bring forth boundless joy because they've heard the Dharma from the Buddha and they believe it. They really do go and do it. They volunteer. I have a Dharma friend, fine person, lovely individual. I've known her. She's a devout Buddhist. I've known her for 30, maybe almost close to 30 years, maybe. Following Master Hua to another state in the U.S., where he was invited, and this young couple came forward. And the person who, I won't mention her name, she's very intelligent and is an expert in the Shastra tradition. She's one of those people who picks up the Lun, or the, what are they, the other Sanskrit names for commentaries. She'll pick up a commentary and read it follow along. She reads the sutras, but she reads the commentary. That's what's important to her. And it's a rare individual who loves the words of the great masters of the past as they comment on the sutras. So she's an expert in shastras. And yet, she's not happy. And came to me regularly and said, Fa Sure, I know that Buddhists are supposed to be happy, and I spend all of my time reading commentaries and translating, and yet I still feel unfulfilled. What am I doing wrong, Fa Sure? And I said, oh, well, I can give you my opinion. Whether it's accurate or not, I don't know. But, you know, the Buddha is both, they say, doubly perfected. He's perfect in both wisdom, which is definitely part of the commentary tradition, studying wisdom, left brain, lots of analysis, lots of language. But the Buddha is also perfect in blessings. Blessings is a right brain activity. It's going out and with your own hands, giving to others, serving others, volunteering, doing not-for-profit work, doing things that directly bring happiness to others. Something as simple as feeding the homeless, working in a shelter, something you could rescue animals. Oh, there's lots and lots of animals, especially after natural disasters that lose their homes. Go help there. You could read for the blind. You could volunteer to drive elders to the polls or to their medical appointments. Lots of things you could do that would directly benefit others and bring you blessings. And I think it would be very satisfying. And she went, yeah, Fashi, yeah, I think that's right. That's really good, Fashi. And then I saw her again 6 months later, and same problem, not satisfied. Something missing. I said, oh, well, how did you get involved in service? Well, Fasher, I haven't yet. I intend to. I made a list of all the places I could go, and I didn't really go there. So I thought, okay. And then 20 years pass. Same situation. Expert on commentaries, just knows everything about various Dharma, great masters of the past, but somehow not satisfied in the Dharma. And I asked about her volunteer opportunities, and she said, yeah, well, I know there's lots of ways to do it, but I don't do it. So, for the sake of saving all beings, they bring forth boundless joy because why? They offer themselves up in service to others without thought of benefiting self. That's why they're joyful. 这个四句偈颂讲菩萨的行为，大家知道佛陀是所谓两祖尊，是不是？智慧也足，也具足，福报也具足，所以呢，就可以发生无量欢喜心。这是佛陀，他也有智慧，也有福报。我认识一个同参道友，一位居士，认识已经快30年，就很年轻，就随着玄华上人去外地就认识。那个时候这位居士呢，对于论学经律论就是说过去大德他们对于佛经下个注解分析讲一讲。他呢他会拿起来这个大智度论或者那个就说一切师地论或者华严苏差种种的很长的这些书本，佛教的书籍他很熟他一清一楚，他就喜欢这样子阅读佛论这个他呢 就到我跟前来，法师，我有一个佛法的问题可以问吗？当然可以问。他说，我很用功学佛，可是我总是觉得很内虚啊，好像就漏掉什么的，我都找不着了。我以为佛教徒应该很欢喜，是不是？可是我为什么觉得好像就认错了题目了？我说哦，那你怎么做呢？因为那个时候不认识。他说我是欢喜读佛论呢，我就龙树菩萨，他所有的这个中论我都读过了，我能背的啊。我说哦，真的。那就说你智慧很强，不敢这么说，可是我很喜欢学。我说那个福报呢？他说什么叫福报？我说那你会不会做义工？你会不会去看那个瞎眼睛的那个可怜的人被他们念书啊？你会不会给老年人开车帮他们去买菜啊？你会不会在道场或者在这个无家可归的那个诊所去倒食物呢？帮他们吃饭呢？他说不会，我这个我没做了。我说哦，那个做义工的机会，志工的机会很多很多。你如果这样做，就增长你的学佛的智慧，我相信你都会觉得心里很满意了。他说哦，好，感谢法师这个主意了啊。然后再给我6个月，我就看看他又来这个同样的问题。法师，佛教徒应该很开心，我怎么会好像内虚了？我说那个 volunteer 那个机会你就做了多少？他说我写个名单呢，我知道附近很多机会，很忙，法师我总是来不及了。我说OK。然后再过20年，又看他又是这个话，我说那个这个两祖尊佛陀的我们榜样，你有多少这个种福田呢？他说我总是很钦佩能种福田的人，可是自己没办法。OK， 结果你看这个华严经的菩萨，因为他们愿意普救诸群生，所以他们就自舍其身，充己事。他们趁每个机会来种福田，服务人家，为众生服务。我们应该用这个口号：为众生服务。就这样子发无量欢喜心。他无量欢喜心是因为为众生服务。对的，没有错。比见世尊大道师，能以此心光绕益，世世永远生欢喜，听受如来神法为义。Sorry about that. Here we go. Seeing the world-honored ones, the great guides, extensively benefit beings with their loving kindness, bodhisattvas at that time are overjoyed, hearing and savoring the Tathagata's profound dharma. Yeah. So it says here that Buddhas used tsubei. They use loving kindness to benefit others. They're called the great guides. Bodhisattvas are overjoyed, hearing and savoring the profound dharma. This gatha, this verse, talks about what? Talks about the influence of examples. They're called, let's see, there we go. So the what are they called? 影响重 in Buddhism. We really learn from the people around us. That's why during COVID, that remarkable series of years when we were locked in, we really didn't have the opportunity to be with other people. So education really suffered during that time. I was reading an article that said many children have simply not returned to school after COVID. They just got out of the habit. And no matter whether we're good students or mediocre students or poor students, simply being around people who 好学, people who love to learn, we get the influence. We get inspired to learn. People, you can just see how one of the things about being a living being is we absorb knowledge. We hunger for knowledge. I have a kookaburra here. He's a big bird, like this, about that big. Can you see? They're big. And the bird who is the current boss in my neighborhood, I saw him when he was a little baby. He was being fed by his parents. And the parents would come to me and get a piece of veggie ham, 素火腿, and I would wash the salt out of it and get it ready, chop it up. And I would put it on the railing, and the parents would grab it and then fly over and feed it to their little baby bird. And that little baby bird is now the daddy, and he has babies. So one of the tricks that I've taught, or maybe the bird has taught me, I think he has taught me to take a piece of ham and say, Amitofo, and toss it in the air, and he grabs it out of the air. We play catch, like that. His baby bird, his child, who's this little cute little bird, lands on the railing, overcame his fear of me, because I was this big unknown thing, because he watched his father fly down and catch food and watch me and then catch another piece. And I watched the baby, the brand new baby kookaburra. Now he could fly. He wasn't brand new. He was adolescent, but he still didn't know how to do anything for himself. He watched his father while I was tossing food, and on a hunch, I took a piece and I said, "You ready?" to the baby, and I tossed it in the air, and he was so happy. He learned how to do it by watching his father. So now when the two of them arrive, I can feed them 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And here's a baby bird, a young bird, learning by watching, learning from his example, which are his parents, his father. It's so wonderful to realize that if we offer education, young minds want to pick it up. So here are the bodhisattvas watching the Buddhas use loving kindness to help us, to help beings wake up. And they are thrilled to see it because this is the Dharma at work. I have one more story. Let me translate first, and then I have another story about this. 菩萨看到大导师，大导师就是佛，用慈心来饶益众生。他们不用这个硬巴巴的不慈悲的心、残忍的心，他们用慈悲心来对待我们。菩萨看到这个就很欢喜他们知道佛法就是令我们了生脱死的一条道路。看佛陀就如来大导师 做榜样，哦，菩萨就高兴，他们要这样做。这是什么呢？这是这个影响中这个善知识，这个好的榜样发生作用。为什么呢？因为众生我们好学，我们生来就愿意引用知识，我们愿意吸收智慧、方法、正确的、有效的行为，我们要学，这是很自然的一件事。所以呢，孔老夫子，他就说：“我就是一个好学的人。”玄华上人一辈子是好学的一个师傅，他做榜样，为教育来弘扬佛法，以教育的门，我们经过学校的门来学佛法啊。这个是不但人类有这种的美德，而且这边澳大利亚有一个好笑之鸟叫 kookaburra。现在这个时候，这个老大，这个老公，这个公鸟，它已经长得好大，它大约3岁。现在它呢做小小的，刚刚出这个蛋的这个 kookaburra 的时候，我也认识。当时的父母我也认识，他们也常常到我跟前要食物，我就把素火腿切小块小块，然后把这个盐巴洗掉了，然后我叫到这个栏杆，这个公的 kookaburra 在那儿等着，我把这个食物扔给他，他就飞下去喂他的小孩子。那个孩子吞下去又要多，他们常常有恶性饥饿。然后当时的小 kookaburra 现在长大了，变成爸爸，他的孩子现在又来了那个当时的孩子现在成爸爸，他也会跟我 play catch， 我就把一块素火腿扔到空中，这个我就说阿弥陀佛，那个 kookaburra 张开他的嘴巴，抓他，扔抓这样子。他的孩子现在能飞，刚刚起飞，什么都不懂，什么都不会的，他是一张白纸，可是呢，一举一动，一言一行，效法他的父亲，他的爸爸。那么孩子就飞到栏杆，看看父亲抓这个食物，我扔给他，他就 catch 这样子，捕捉了，然后我就说好，试试看。我就说好，小孩子阿弥陀佛，扔一块素火腿，孩子抓吞下去，高兴的不得了，爸爸也看孩子这样子，孩子看父亲效法，就学习，向他来学习。所以人也是这样子，小鸟也是这样子，菩萨也是这样子，我们随我们的好的榜样。所以那么父母当家长很重要，给孩子做榜样。孩子反正都会小我们给他们的榜样是怎么样的榜样，我们就知道孩子成人去做什么样的人。So the lesson in watching baby kookaburras learn to catch veggie ham in the air, when I say Amitofo, you just know that children follow their adults, for better or for worse. What kind of an example do we give our kids? That's the kind of person they will become, no doubt about it. That's the model we give them to follow. So the other story I wanted to share about this was the principle is the power of good examples. There was a young woman, a young girl actually. She was a student in public school. Her parents came to the Berkeley Monastery, and she was in every way a very normal girl. She was at this time, I think, about 13 or 14, and her parents hadn't considered sending her to the girls' school at CTDB. They, I think they wanted her to get an ordinary upbringing, a socialization in public school first. But what they saw was that their daughter was learning everything about popular culture. I think the exciting group at the time was the Backstreet Boys. It was the Backstreet Boys. That was the K-pop group of the day. And she was studying the Backstreet Boys, and she was learning about makeup, how to put makeup on, and she brought home magazines of fashion, how to look sexy, and the parents were like, our daughters, we're losing control of our daughter. She's being swallowed by the ordinary marketplace, and we want her to grow up and learn something before she gets swept off her feet by pop culture and starts to imitate that world. So they said, we'll send her to school at City of 10,000 Buddhas. And oh, the daughter was so unhappy because she thought, oh, no fun, going to prison, can't do anything, can't listen to music, can't buy magazines, can't put on makeup. Well, the parents said, it's just a few years, let's see what you can learn there. Well, I'm sure I can't learn anything, said the daughter. So they talked to me about it, and we got the daughter enrolled at the city and the girls' school. So this is now high school. She was a sophomore in high school. And so a couple months passed, and it was time for Christmas break. And the young girl came back from Christmas break, and she had in her backpack 5 books that she was reading for her studies. And she came to the monastery, and she didn't want to play with her public school girlfriends and find out about the Backstreet Boys. She wanted to read her stack of books. She had all these books appropriate to her age that she was reading, and I could see that she had bookmarks in them. And she came to the monastery, and she was just turning pages. She had discovered a love of learning simply by being in the girls' school. And it was so wonderful to see. And further, she had learned about baking. She had learned how to bake cakes and pies and cookies and bread. And she was good at it. This was just something that she asked if she could volunteer, and she had a talent for it. So simply by watching the older girls at the girls' school love to study, she learned to study. And the influence of good and wise advisors is so powerful. So bodhisattvas, in this case, it's the Buddhas who are the examples, but bodhisattvas model love of cultivation for us, and we learn from them the value of cultivating the way, so that what? So that we too can be overjoyed by hearing and savoring the Tathagata's profound Dharma. 就说另外一个故事哈，那个道理是什么？这个道理是影响众的力量，就是随榜样，就见诸者吃缄默者，可以，什么人就说什么人找什么人，这个有一个女孩，她的父母是 Berkeley 道场的很虔诚的家人，一个弟子， 他们一家人就来学佛，很虔诚，很用功。这个女儿她12、13岁，快要入这个高中。他们把女儿送到公立学校，公立学校不重视道德，不应该说不一定重视读书啊，就是什么这个女孩子她的种种的一群女朋友们，她们喜欢 rock and roll， 她们喜欢打扮，她们喜欢穿那个漂亮的衣服，她们非常主流文化，流行音乐什么的。所以父母看女儿，她每天看这个杂志，那个时候有这个fashion 这个杂志啊，然后她开始撒那个口红，年轻的女孩子，她对于 Backstreet Boys 那个 boy band 很感兴趣，她对于读书呢不感兴趣，不用功，不读书，不看书。父母就到我跟前说，我们可不可以那个月亮小学、月亮女校配的这个女校，他们会不会接受我们的女儿？我说你可以申请，女儿如果她真的不要去，那你不能勉强。如果她一分诚心，她应该看看有没有这个缘分。他们去申请，跟那个校长，跟那个那个校长讲话，就说女儿她可以读书吗？这个他们问那个女儿，她说不要了，不好玩啊！我能不能看杂志？不能。我能不能听 Backstreet Boys？ 不能。我可不可以这个撒口红啊？绝对不可以。我不要去父母就说你去1年，你如果1年过后真的不喜欢，我们不勉强，好不好？OK， 因为那个女孩子本来她很听话。好的，她开始读书，第1个学期，然后到了这个圣诞节 Christmas break 可以度假回来，我看一个父母把女儿带到庙上，我们是念佛，那个时候大佛期。这个女孩子本来她一到庙上，马上找她的女朋友，他们谈 Backstreet Boys 什么的。她这次呢，她回来庙上不一样，她一个书包，她打开书包，里边有4、5本书，她坐到一边，拿起来那些书看书我看的他有这个书签，他真的在看这些书本，他对于求学，他对于教育现在发生兴趣，深深的感兴趣。父母高兴的不得了然后那个女孩从我们的培德中学毕业她同时呢，她不但对于读书感兴趣，她对于应该说 baking 就是烤面包，烤这个蛋糕，没有鸡蛋的蛋糕，还有派饼，她都感兴趣。想不到她有这个天才，她对于这种的做饭真的感兴趣，因为她看这个比她高的同学，那个女同学就每天去帮忙她也发现这样子做义工，所以学到烤面包、烤蛋糕等等这种的手艺，她就学会了。所以你看，就是善知识的做榜样的力量也是做影响众。菩萨看到佛做影响众，哎呀，很欢喜， 知道佛法是太妙的。然后我们呢，看菩萨这样做，我们知道佛法是这么太妙了世事踊跃生欢喜。菩萨所有诸善根，悉以回向众诸。One more time. 悉以回向诸众生，普皆救护无忧虑，永世解脱常安乐。Bodhisattvas dedicate all their good roots in their entirety to all living beings. They rescue and protect all without exception, forever liberating them and bringing them peace and joy. So, here we go. Let me show you. Let's see, I'm going to put that away briefly. Stop sharing my screen. Hold on, don't go away. Yes, here we go. Is that the one I want? Yes. Okay, that's the one. All right, here we go. Share my screen again. Today is Monday. On Saturday, here at the Gold Coast, we had a kids workshop. And my job was to explain to kids how to transfer merit. And what merit did we have to transfer? We had singing merit and game playing merit and shooting arrows, archery merit to transfer. Here are the kids singing praises to Guanyin Bodhisattva. 我就说这个菩萨他回向所有的功德给众生星期六，今天星期一在 Australia here。星期六我们开一个儿童班，儿童workshop， 就有16个小孩，他们来打坐礼佛唱歌赞叹观音菩萨的歌曲，然后他们就玩一些游戏，然后射箭 archery， 他们就学习怎么样射箭，用弓箭来射箭，很好。然后我给他们解释什么叫回向，回向什么功德呢？咱们年轻的小孩唱歌的功德。很好玩，很好玩然后那些年轻人了他们就射箭。哇，不错，这么年轻的女孩。High five. Yes. 很好玩所以呢，意思是说什么？意思是说，怎么样解释给5、6岁的孩子回向功德？你看菩萨So what did I just show you? I just showed you the video of children praising Guanyin Bodhisattva and practicing archery, little girl practicing archery, and then high five. Explaining to them how to dedicate merit and virtue. They get it right away. Kids get it right away. Say, use your mind just like a mobile phone tower, like a cell phone tower. send out that goodness, make a wish, give it to your grandma. Give it to somebody you know who's hurting, who's in pain. Transfer it with your mind. Just let it shine out like a light. And make a wish and give it away. And they go, okay. They get it right away. It's funny, I was amazed at how rapidly, how immediately children understand the principle of dedicating merit. Say, that's so easy. Yeah, why don't we do it more often? 这个你看菩萨他们所有的有善根，他们都布施，他们都回向悉一回向诸众生。他们怎么样学会吗？这是星期六我教那些女孩男孩回向功德，就说像手机的灯塔，把这个 signal 360度往外发，所有手机的人都可以收到。你的心就这样用，就把所有的这个欢喜心，你在这里跟同学一起玩，这个欢喜心呢可以布施这个他们OK 好，我给他们，你要布施给谁？要有什么效果？你这样布施，你都可以发这个愿。你这样做呢，就会见效。他们点点头，好，回向给婆婆，婆婆最近不开心回向给我的同学，我的同学有病了，我就回向给他。OK， 这样子马上他们都领会到。所以菩萨他们就把所有的功德这样做。你知道做了一次就有欢喜心，那为什么不常常这样做呢？菩萨所有诸眷属，色相端严能辨会，画满一幅即图像，种种庄严皆具足。All the Bodhisattvas' retinues are endowed with majestic, superb appearances, with eloquent wisdom, with a variety of objects of adornment, flower garlands, garments, and fragrant ointments. Okay, what's a retinue? A retinue is a weird word in English. We just say group, or friends, or your gang, or your homies, or your circle. We use all those different words, not retinue. I don't know where we came up with retinue. All the Bodhisattvas groups, followers, are endowed with majestic, superb appearance, eloquent wisdom, and objects of adornment. And it tells you what they are. This is half of an idea. We need to read the second verse to get the whole idea. But it says that followers of Bodhisattvas are full of blessings. Why? Because they give blessings away. It's exactly the opposite of what the world thinks, which is, the world thinks if you give it away, you're a loser. The only way to have stuff is to hang on to it. Money in particular. But what you get by holding on to stuff is an end to happiness. If, on the other hand, you can let stuff flow through and share the things that make you happy, the result is more comes. You make room for deeper happiness, and you realize that things are simply means. They are not the ends in themselves. 菩萨他随他的人，跟随菩萨的一群人，那个眷属，他们有福报。为什么有福报呢？因为布施，用心回向福报，回向善根。这个市场里做买卖的地方恰好相反，不明白这一点。怎么样相反呢？就说哎呦，我有东西呢，我一定要抓住， 不然就没有了。错了，对不对的？你如果抓住你财产、你的钱，那个钱不会增长，不会多，反而你都会烦恼，因为抓住很用力，紧张拘谨，没有欢喜心，那个财产那个钱不会做善事，没有善根，所以呢停顿。如果我们跟随这个道理，佛法的道理跟市场的道理，道场的道理跟市场的道理相反。如果我们就说把这个好处，把这个欢喜，你最喜欢的布施出去了，反而欢喜心，而且物质自己会增长会多啊，因为活动流就像水流这样子。所以下4句偈颂要一起念，你才能明白这个道理。Okay, we have to look at the second verse to get the meaning here. Here we go. 此诸眷属甚稀有，菩萨一切皆能施，专求正觉度群生，如是之心无沾涉。Their retinues are difficult to come by, but bodhisattvas can give them all away. Single-mindedly striving for perfect awakening, they liberate all beings without ever forsaking their resolve. So here's the idea is that bodhisattvas can actually give away give away their retinues. What does that mean? Oh, it sounds kind of scary. Bodhisattvas give away their wives, their children, their followers, their possessions. Those are people. Those are relationships. The principle is here that the things that we value most are our relationships. Those are the hardest things to let go of. Bodhisattvas can, if need be, go it alone, go forth on their own, letting go of those most cherished relationships, the most valuable things we possess, in order to make progress in the way. Single-mindedly striving for perfect awakening, they liberate beings from beings' dependence on the bodhisattva. Interesting how they see it, how they can turn it this way. It's genuinely so. 在讲回向的道理，华严经就说菩萨能把他最宝贵的人与人之间的关系，能舍得求法、求开悟、求道。我们一般人就说最舍不得就是我们的六亲眷属啊，这个是很正常。那菩萨与众不同，他能连这个需要的话也能舍。一个人求解脱了，然后回来解脱他的六亲眷属啊，期待祖先，所以不容易。菩萨有这种的道心呢，不多啊，不多。So, let's take a look at this one just briefly. Oh, that's not what I want. There we go. Put that away for now. So, here's the idea. I'm going to put myself on the speaker there. Okay. There was a study done at Harvard. It's the longest running public health questionnaire survey ever, or experiment ever run. It's going into, 50, 60 years now? And they've followed certain people all these decades to find out what makes us happy. And it's, if you heard it, then you know what the answer is. But for people who have not heard it, it's always a shock to realize that what makes people happy is not money, it's not food, it's not sex, it's not fame, it's not comfort. Those are means to essentially sufficiency and sustaining your life. But those very same things can turn into disaster for us, and they don't guarantee happiness. The single thing, the most important thing that guarantees not only a peaceful mind and happiness, but also physical health, well-being, that well-being of your body and your health is what? Is our relationships. The people and animals that we draw near and that we spend our time with. They even they got it down to specifics, and they looked at students going through school, and the number one criteria that determined whether a student was going to be a success in their 4 years of college or not succeed, not make it through, was not their father's or mother's wealth. It was not were they smart or not smart. It wasn't, did they have a peaceful upbringing as a child. It was whether or not they ate dinner with their family at the dinner table growing up. That single aspect of childhood turned out to be the number one most reliable predictor of whether a student was going to succeed at school, all the way through. How interesting, right? Happiness comes from who we surround ourselves with. Do we surround ourselves with people? And whether or not we sit at the table with people older than we are and people younger than we are. That was what they discovered. So, how interesting. Bodhisattvas pay attention to their relationships, and they lead them in a virtuous, blessed way in service to others. And as a result, they're happy all the time. And their minds are grounded and their health extends. What a surprise. 这个你看菩萨他的眷属很重要很重要。佛陀怎么说呢？佛就说阿难，他说善知识善朋友是满分的修道的道路，修行的道路，正法。哈佛大学有let's see, public health, 公共卫生 is that it? 公共卫生的一种试验，是 public health 里边最长流的一个试验，已经好像60年。他们把人60年前先把他们登记了，然后跟随他们的生命，一代一代继续记录他们的生平的高低，快乐，忧愁，成功失败。现在有一些结果，我听这个 podcast， 这个有人这个设计这个试验那个科学家他就报道，他说人的长寿健康哪一点最重要？看看这个人就说长寿无病还是短命多病，是什么呢？不是金钱，不是地位，不是财产，不是教育，最重要是他的人与人之间的关系，就对于身体的健康有大的影响。如果孤独寂寞，你都恐怕身体有多病这个寿命也会减少。如果你其他的都没有了，可是你的眷属在你四周围很健康，很保护你，跟你做善的朋友了， 你的会度过很多困难因为那个基础健康坚定。还有在那个试验里边有一个更奇妙，他们看看大学生，哪一个大学生成功4年级，用什么来确定用什么来就说预告这个人他会成功，那个人他会失败，哪一方面呢？想不到，不是父亲的薪水，不是他的所谓知识，他聪明不聪明，不是他的家里的背景，不是。他们说这是同样一个 public health 试验，他们都说想不到，最重要看一个孩子能成功4年级的大学就毕业了是什么？看看那个孩子是不是年轻的时候跟父母跟他的兄弟姐妹晚上在一个饭桌一起吃晚饭。这是他们没想到会有这一点是最重要。如果孩子到拿一些食物到他的房间，在电视机前吃饭呢，不见到父母的面孔，不听父母讲话，不跟兄弟姐妹打关系了，就那个孩子很可能不成功所以想不到对了所以我们要注意，菩萨他呢，他的眷属就是有这种的福报的人，所以我们必须要每天的就行住坐卧我们所接触的兄弟姐妹、父母、孩子都要很留心，用慈悲心那就生命会延长，心里会愉快所做的事都会成功科学跟佛法接近。All right, what have we got? We have a wonderful story. We're going to continue right now with what? With the conclusion of not that, but this. Master Xuanzang. You remember the last time we heard this wonderful phrase? Master Xuanzang said, 玄奘来者维护大法，今分为障，只可古辈亡流，世身未必留也。他这样讲因无言不复能言，往亦不纳，更是增加供养，每日进食，王公捧盘。你看，国王在那儿拿食物，玄奘不接受，不进食，就做节食了，打恶气。法师既被停留，未足先至，遂是不食以甘其心。于是端坐，水将不摄于口3日。就说3天都不吃饭，3都不进水，不喝水。至第4日，王觉法师气息渐挫，深深愧惧，乃击手里谢晕，人师习行起垂，就说起垂早时玄奘大师成功就打胜仗 right? Okay, what happens here? Master Xuanzang, remember where we left it? There was a showdown. The king of Gaochang wanted to keep Xuanzang Fashi for his own possession. He wanted to add him to his court and keep him there in Gaochang. Well, our hero is no dummy, no sir. Nope, I've got to follow my vow. So the king says, I have ways to make you, I can force you. Master Xuanzang says, okay, I'm going to not eat. You can keep my body, you can't keep my mind. So he sat down and refused to eat. The king came every day holding food in his hands. Please eat, holding food to feed Master Xuanzang. The king would not give Master permission to go. He increased the amount of offerings, and every day at mealtime, he held a tray with his own hands to serve food to him. He hasn't met a monk like our hero. Having been kept from going against his own wish, the master refused to take any food, thinking thus he would change the king's mind. He sat erect. He didn't drink even a drop of water for 3 days. I want to make a point here. You know how hard it is to sit still for 3 days? It's hard to sit still for 30 minutes without moving, especially when there's no food or water. Look at the strength of this teacher. What a remarkable monk. On the 4th day, the king found that Master Xuanzang's breath had become very feeble. He felt ashamed of himself. He saluted the master, saying, I will let you go to the west. Please take some food. He didn't want to have his kingdom be responsible for killing the monk. That's not lucky. That's not auspicious. In fact, it's the opposite. So Master Xuanzang won the struggle. 法师空气不实，药王指日未言。王曰：若须尔者，请共对佛更加因缘。遂共入道场礼佛，对母长太妃供法师曰：为兄弟。Okay, now look at this. Fearing the king's words might be untrue, the master requested him to take an oath with his finger pointing at the sun. The king said, if you wish, we better strengthen our relationship before the image of the Buddha. They both entered the monastery to pay homage to the Buddha's image, and in the presence of his mother, the old queen Zhang, the king acknowledged the master to be his brother. So, in other words, this is not his first rodeo. Master Xuanzang says, okay, you say you'll let me go, prove it. Wise to the way of the street. He knows it's easy to say these things, but will he really do it? He knows what kings are like. Has the master actually tamed the king of Gaochang? Well, he says, prove it. So he points to the sun. And the king, in fact, is not bad. The king says, okay, you don't believe me, let's go do it in front of the Buddha. And they go in there, and there's the mom, there's the queen mother. And the king says, I want to take this monk as my brother. 所以你看玄奘法师，他不是昨天生的，他很懂事，他不但有智慧，而且有每一天的聪明啊。他说那个国王容易说，可是做到吗？不一定做得到。所以他说要发誓啊，国王拿一个指头往太阳说，这个不要了，我们就去在佛前礼佛，就把这个为我的发誓啊。到了这个玄奘，其实那个国王也不错了啊，他有佛缘，他有功德，所以他们都到这个这是国王的母亲，这个太妃前就做结拜兄弟，任是求法，还二请住此国3年，受弟子供养。若当来成佛，愿弟子入波斯匿王、频婆娑罗等，欲是座外护坛院。He says, I will let you go to seek for the law, but when you come back, you have to stay here for 3 years to receive my offering. When you become a Buddha in the future, let me be your patron and supporter, like King Prasanajit and King Bimbisara were to the Buddha. So the king is learned, he's knowledgeable, and he's saying, I'll let you go now. Why? The king has to save face. The king has just been beaten by the monk. The monk used emotional, spiritual, and physical leverage. He knows the king doesn't want to have the monk die at the court. So, but look at what is required. You have to really be ready to put it down. Master Xuanzang could put it down. And so that leverage worked. Now the king is not used to being beaten, to having a master. And he knows he's been beaten, not tricked. He's been shown up by the monk. He has to keep some face. So he says, all right, we'll make a deal. You come back, stay here for 3 years. Let me make offerings to you. All right? And he says, and then when you're a Buddha, he says, I'll be your hufa. Pretty good. The king's pretty good. 你看国王，他呢也懂一点事情，他懂一点佛法。他说，你回来的时候，你要受我的供养3年，然后将来我可以把你当护法。我给你做护法，他这样说。这个国王不容易降服一个国王，尤其有这个势力这么有强力的一个国王，好厉害的国王。玄奘大师让他吃亏就不多了，所以为保护他的脸，他就说 OK 好，我跟你做个 deal。你回来，我就供养你，好吧？这样子，玄奘大师呢，他真的降服这个国王，不容易。仍趋听乐讲人往经，中间为师营造行福法师，可许皆许。太妃甚欢，愿于师常为眷属，代代相度。于是方时，其节制，真见如此。The master was then invited to stay for another month to preach on the Prajnaparamita Sutra of the benevolent king. During this time, the king made arrangements for his departure. The master agreed to this request, and the old queen was delighted. She wanted to have the master with them so she could be taught by him in all her future lives. At that, Master Xuanzang agreed to eat again. His firmness of will had always been like that. So what the influence of the king's mother is really important here. She is why she's seen her son grow up, and she probably knows that he's as arrogant as the day is long, and to see him humbled by the wisdom of Master Xuanzang and the selflessness and the courage of Master Xuanzang probably makes her happy. It's nice to see her son get a lesson. I'm sure that's the case. And furthermore, she wants to take refuge. She really does. The kingdom of Gaochang is out there in the desert, surrounded by what? More sand. This is not a cosmopolitan place, but they do have monks. They have learned everything they can from those monks. And so when the cream of the crop, Master Xuanzang, who subdued all the elder monks in Chang'an and in Sichuan, when he shows up, the king of Gaochang has enough wisdom to recognize a true advisor. So his mother says, could we please keep you as our teacher? I would like to learn from you. So the king is even stronger in his resolve to help Master Xuanzang, because he wants him to come back. That's a long road ahead. This is just the beginning of the journey. He doesn't know if he'll ever see him again. So he wants to try his best to protect his teacher. 这个太妃就是国王的母亲，她也有善根，她的关系，她的影响也是蛮大。为什么？她养这个国王，他的儿子一定知道国王是功高的不得了，不容易降服这个国王。他看了玄奘大师用智慧来降服他的儿子，他很高兴，让这个儿子吃亏一点，不要那么硬的，所以母亲的影响力对他的儿子也很大，所以他就说，你能不能接受我们愿意皈依你，然后希望常常有你在旁边，我们法师，我们可以常常向你来学习。高昌这个地方就在沙漠当中，是偏僻的不得了，不好去的地方，所以这不是好像一个热闹城市。有他们那边法师有老师，可是他们已经所有的他们能教的他们都学好学过了。这个玄奘大师来了，还有在长安、在四川、成都那里，这些大的高僧对他五体投地了，所以他到高昌来，这个那个国王还有他母亲呢，真的是尊贵他，所以母亲也是这样子，一家人就愿意向玄奘大师来叩拜。这个他要去印度取经，这是第一步，应该是第二步。这个前边的路途好远好远，他会不会回来？不知道。国王高昌这个国王知道，高昌国的国王，他很可能再不见玄奘大师的面，所以他要尽量的做让他这个路途开始这些方便。等一等，我们下个礼拜就会听到高昌王他怎么样帮助大师。So, knowing that the king of Gaochang is unaware whether he'll ever see Master Xuanzang again, so he's going to exhaust his efforts to ensure that Master Xuanzang comes back. We'll see next week what that might include. All right. So, what's happening in the city of 10,000 Buddhas right now is the Restore Bodhisattva session. And the Restore session is very, very powerful. The power of the Restore Sutra is inconceivable. My first reading of the Restore Sutra, I will never forget. The circumstances surrounding Shifu telling me to read the Restore Sutra, I will never forget. I didn't even know there was such a sutra, and I was being taught for a mistake I had made at Gold Mountain Monastery. And I was, the day before, Shifu had told me, he said, okay, either you leave or I leave, you choose, because you have ruined Buddhism single-handedly here. If you stick around, there's no need my being here, because there's no future. So you leave or I leave. You choose. And I'm like, so the next, I couldn't make up my mind. So the next morning I came down and here was Shifu, and he said, all right, over there on the altar, here's a sutra. Read it, recite it, and then come and talk to me. So I went over to the altar, and there was the Restore Sutra. and it wasn't an English translation at that point. So I read it in Chinese, and I remember sweating. As I was reading the Restore Sutra, my body was covered with sweat. And I really felt like the sutra was kind of cleaning me out. Even though I didn't deeply understand it, it's beautifully translated, so it's easy to understand, but the power of that sutra to give us a whole new center of gravity, to open up the three evil destinies and let us know how real they are, and the heavens as well. Unbelievable sutra, unbelievably powerful sutra, wonderful. 我第一次现在圣城在举行这个地藏期，地藏菩萨呢那部经呢是太微妙它的力量最大。我第一次诵地藏经的时候，我根本不知道有这么一部经。师父在教会我说，你那边有一部经，你把它念一念，然后回来跟我讲。我没有读过了，这是中文的，所以我听力那个是我的中文呢有限，不过我在一边诵经一边流汗。我记得第一次诵地藏经，我就周身都流汗。我好像那部经呢把我洗得干净，真的很妙哈。所以这是我都记得第一次。我们现在在圣城，每天都有机会诵地藏经，跟大家一起这个难得的机会。好 ，All right. So what we're going to do next is dedicate merit, just like the Bodhisattvas in the sutra. So you make your wish and send out, just like a lighthouse, send out the merit and virtue. 我们现在就回向功德，那么大家就像我们华严经的菩萨，发回向愿，看我们怎么样要把这个世界改善。好。Make your wish. May every living being our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see, our hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Let's bow to the Buddha. Okay, first bow. Second bow. Third bow. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Alrighty, that's going to do it for us for this week. We'll see you all next week. Keep reciting Restore Bodhisattva's name. Amitofo. Bye, everybody.